Hello, everybody. This is Dana with DanaPittman.com and Purpose Prevails Publishing.com. I am coming back for another edition of my Going Indie vlog. So, if you're interested in getting my mid-month update, as well as I promised I would talk just a little bit about my writing stages. Then stick around. If not, well, then I hope to see you on the next video. For everyone that is hanging with me this morning, well, it's morning for me. I don't know what time it is for you. Well, then hang around till after the introduction, and I will see you all shortly.
Don't be don't be don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. Don't be don't be
Okay, thank you for joining me again. This is Dana, Purpose Prevails Publishing.com, DanaPittman.com, and this is another edition of the Going Indie vlog. So I told you all in the last vlog that I would come back mid-month and let you know how it's going, and I do not have raving review feedback because it's been a long month already, but I am looking forward to kind of just giving you all the updates. So I will revisit. Well, first of all, thank you all for watching the last video and for your support through thumbing up the video. Also in commenting, I did get a few comments, and I did also get a few comments on my blog, which is at DanaPittman.com, and a couple questions. Yay! So, and pardon the glare, my light's here, and so it's kind of hitting me. So thank you. To me, all of that equals support, so I appreciate it. I want to revisit the goals and give you an update. I had the goal of finishing the first draft of a story that I'm working on. At the time of recording, I'm at about 11 or 12,000 words into that first draft. It's not quite where I want to be, but it is where I am. I'm loving where the story is going, and so I embrace that leg of it. And part of it I will touch on in one of the other goals. The other second part of the writing goal was to have my second story at least started, and of course, well, I haven't touched that one yet because I'm still finishing the first one. And I typically, oh, I'll talk about that. Like, I typically don't write two stories at once. Not fiction, but anyways. The second or the third goal was to work on a marketing technique, which I am working on a marketing feature. So I don't know what to call it. Is what I'm doing right now, which is like an overall promotion on my newsletters, my social media, and that is ongoing. So far, it's going great. And I am looking at like just light data. I don't obsess over the data, but for this, I am watching it because it's my first time trying this on my debut novel. And so at the end of the month, I'll let you all know like a little bit more in detail what I did. But as of today, it's going amazing. And I'm so glad that I did it. And I look forward to sharing more about that. So goal number 3 is like gold star. And 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth goal was to find critique buddies, and for that one is another gold star. Yes, gold stars. We have not officially kicked off, but I have found it's a total of 5 of us that are looking to get together. We all met at our local romance writers, RWA meeting, Romance Writers of America meeting, and we are like a survey has gone out, and now we're scheduling, and our goal is to have our first critique session by the end of this month, and so that is going fantastic. And that was all for the month of August. Now there is one tiny well, not tiny because it's big, milestone that I wanted to reach, which I want to have at least 50 book reviews on all of my books. And I'm like the little engine that could uphill on this goal. And so for one of my books, which is my debut novel, Black Diamond, I am now officially over 40. I think I'm at 41 or 42 book reviews on that. And I am ecstatic. And I still have more reviews that are coming in because people have been emailing me, and there are a couple reviews that are on other platforms that won't show in the US, like in UK, and I'll take them all. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to get something that's popping up on my computer. And so I'm excited about that. The last thing that wasn't, I guess it somewhat was a goal, was to bring back in my freedom journal and my mastery journal into my daily goals. And I am doing that, not as much as I would like, but I am doing it. And I am planning to do a separate video on that because I've been getting a lot of questions about the freedom journal, the mastery journal. Do I use any other type of planner or journal? And I'm going to do a separate video today just on that. And I'm going to try to make these quick because I have writing to do. Okay. So the one part of the goal, which I have not done as well as I like, is the writing 2,000 words every day, Monday through Friday. I've not done well with that. I am what I call a chunk writer. Like, I can sit and I can write. Like, for example, the other day I wrote about 8,000 words. I wrote 6,000 words on the novel, and then I did 2,000 words on a nonfiction project. Well, really was across my blogs because I write for my blogs, and I can do that. So it's been very difficult for me to work my mind into writing something every day, and I do something, just loosely, something concerning the novel that I'm working on every day. Sometimes it's research, sometimes it's prep for my writing session, but I'm still aiming to do at a minimum of 2,000 words every day. And I think this week, with the extra writing that I'll do today as well as tomorrow, my average will be over that 2,000 a day. But again, it's just something that I'm working on, and I just got to work on it. So I'll keep you all posted on that. And as far as the updates like this, you will see more on it on the next Going Pro vlog at the end of the month, where I'll tell you if I reached my August goals overall. If you have comments, questions, or anything, or input or suggestions, of course, put them in the comment section. I would love to interact with you all about it. And now I want to get to, for a few minutes, my writing stages. I am a plotter. I don't get into that whole plot and pantsing. I think you just got to do what works for you, which is probably why trying to change what works for me and as far as daily writing has been a transition, but it takes time to make things a habit. I do a detailed outline. And so for me, I count my outline as a stage in my stages process. So that is my first stage, is outlining. My outlines over the years have become a little more detailed, and I found that when I do my outlines in that manner, it makes my first draft go pretty fast. So for example, this current book that I'm working on, I will give you all updates at the end of the month, but my goal for this is to have this first draft finished by the 20. Honestly, I really want it done by the 25th, which is the end of next week, but I will be ecstatic if it's done by, at the latest, midweek next week, which is the 23rd. And so in essence, it usually takes me about 10 of my chunk writing sessions to get a first draft. And so that means for each of my chunk sessions, I'm calling them chunk sessions. That sounds so ridiculous. Each of my chunk sessions, I usually can clear somewhere between 6,000 and 10,000 words. The most that I've done in a chunk session has been around 15 to 17,000 words. I didn't like, I say range because I don't always write down like my first, my second. I know in my mind usually how many chapters I've cleared. And for me, a chapter is usually between 1,500 to 3,000 words is a chapter for me. I try to hit in the 2,000 range, but for me, 15 to 20 is an average. And in my suspense, I usually have a few that are shorter than or short just because it's a pacing thing. And so outline in stage one, stage two is chunk writing. You know, I try to, at this point over time, like I used to take longer in stage two, which is technically the first draft, but really it's more like a second draft because it's a detailed outline for me. And that's the second stage. The third stage is rest. I count that because if I jump right into it, because I do write in chunk sessions, I'm like over, like I'm tired. And so the third stage for me then is usually I try to give myself at least a week to let it rest in my mind. And so therefore I'm still doing something on it daily, but I don't touch the story or the manuscript. And usually in that stage, I'm usually going and I'm working on a list of things that I need to add or things that have popped in my mind, almost like a checklist, so that when I go back into my writing stage, I have a guide. I'm like creating a guide for myself. And that can be research, that can be character stuff. Some things about the characters pop in my mind that I want to either heighten, or there's some things that I can recall writing that I don't really care for that I want to remove. And I do it on a checklist. Years ago, like for older stories, I used to do that checklist like in a Word document or now in Pages. But for the story I'm working on now, or the last two stories that I've worked on, I've been trying to use a spreadsheet to see how I like that. For one story, I did use Scrivener, and I just didn't really care for it. And if you all would like to hear more about that, let me know, because I could do something separate on that. And so that is the third stage, which is like the resting stage. The fourth stage is when I go back in. And when I go back in, I actually listen to my story. And that can either be me reading it, or it can be I allow my computer to read it to me as I read it on the computer screen. I actually, in my last full novel, but earlier this year, I purchased a program that will read documents to me, and I can change the speed that they read it. So for example, a steady pace versus 2 times that or 4 times that, which is really fast. But I do that. Years ago, before that, I used to read it to myself into a recorder, and now I can save myself that step as well as my voice by letting the computer read it to me. You can even select like what type of voice you want, which has been helpful. I listen, I read it on the screen, and as I'm doing that, I don't do much tinkering, but what I do is almost like it's almost like an editor would do, in that I go through and I make notes, and I usually make notes in a different color, whether I do it by comments or actually add in like a bracket, like insert yada yada yada, and I go through. And I do that through the entire story. I try my best to do that as fast as I can, because if I do it slow, I will resist the urge. I mean, I will give in to the urge and actually start writing again. And usually that's too soon. So by the time I let it rest in, what is that, stage 3, because I don't really write these stages. I just know what to do. So by the time I do the rest, which in this scenario is stage 3, and stage 4, which is the listening to my story, has usually given me about 2 weeks, no, probably about a week and a half at the most, 2 weeks, where I haven't tinkered or written on the story. But at the same time, I have been actively, passively working on my story. And then after that is when I get into writing again. And so that would put us at stage 5, writing again. So I'm going back to the checklist, identifying areas where I need to work on. The wonderful thing is, because of my outlining process, I usually don't have holes in my plot, or character issues per se, but you never know. I mean, we're human. And a lot of times, even though I do the outline, my stories don't ever fully stick to it. Really, what that does is allow all of everything that I want in the story and the characters to be ingrained in me, because I've thought through it, so that when I go to the page, it just flows out. And so that's when I go back in. Like, that's deep work. And usually that is significant writing. My story at that point will usually swell quite a bit. And so that's the rewrite stage. After that, after the rewrite is when I began. Usually after this stage is when I like to give it to beta readers. Sometimes that's possible, sometimes it's not. And then while it's out at beta readers, I will print up the manuscript at this point and read it on paper. Literally read it on paper with highlighters, pens, and I go through and start the editing process at that point. And that is the timeline on that, I try to keep that very condensed, because I will rewrite it to death, but I try not to do that. So listen, rewrite, and then get it to beta readers, and then, which is kind of more not a stage, but kind of in there like a hurdle. And then I do edits on paper. And then after I do edits on paper, I rework, like retype those, because they're on paper, and that'll also let me know if there's any sections that I want to rewrite, tighten up, remove. So that's like a light rewrite. And then after that, it's pretty much ready for whatever I want to do after that, whether send it to a proofreader, or there's another stage of readers that I have that help me after that. And then I have a couple of writer friends that help me with editing. But I know this, like, you could just, from there, it's the editing process. And so while that process is going on, that is when I begin the production side of it, which is separate from writing. And after the editing is when I go into the production phase. And so that's really my steps. I don't know. I think I am perfecting that because of the pace at which this year has gone, and I like the way that I do it. I do have to be careful that I can outline and plot forever. Like, that could be my whole entire existence. I just love it. But it's so funny because I love the writing too, just as much. And so it's just allowing both those sides of me to get fair play. And then also this year has taught me a lot about being aware of how much time I spend in each one of those stages, so that I can maximize, and also maximize my skill level, but also minimize the lag time. And in having that balance, it allows me to get something else which is vital to me, which is, I like variety. So that means it kind of gets something in, I work really focused on it, and then I get to move on to something else, which is the fun part too. So it's like a balancing act for me. Okay, so I don't want to keep us too long. I hope that this was helpful. If you have questions about any one of those stages, let me know. I think what I will do if it is requested in the comment section on this video, is I can write this up or even explain in a little bit of detail in separate videos. But for this video and for going pro, I guess the tip that I would have for people that are going pro and are writing is that I think it's vital to understand how you work. And it doesn't, even if it doesn't work for you, you still have to know how you work, because how can you make adjustments? How can you strengthen it? How can I go from chunk writing to trying to develop a daily habit of writing? Chunk writing worked for me. I had other things. I had business. I had kids. I have all these other things that I had to attend to. So chunk writing is what I had. So now that I'm doing this full time, I want to help my mind and my body and my business understand the priority of it. And that's what I have to do now. But knowing your process is how you can tweak your process, is how you can vamp your process, is how you can make your process work for you. And for me, it's important now, because if I want to, so that when I decide to beef it up or fall back, I know in my timeline, in my work process, where that beef or that leanness can take place with as little friction against other things as possible. And that's the goal for me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, leave them in the comment section. And I will get to one of the questions. The question that I received is that I plan to address, because I think the other questions I naturally covered, but it was concerning my publishing business and whether it will become a family-run business. Also, okay, I'm going to just read it. I know your family already has a business. Do you plan to do this publishing business staying on your own thing, or will it become another family-run business? As far as promoting your books, have you considered using sites like Net Galley to get more attention and reviews, or maybe have a giveaway for a signed copy of a book on Goodreads for more attention and reviews? Any plans to expand to audiobooks? That was a lot of questions, all great, so I'm going to cover them all. The first one, the publishing business, will it stay on my own, or will it be a family-run business? It will be a family-run business. That's how we roll. But right now, it's primarily myself, and everybody in our family has a role when their role is needed. So when I do tables or vendors or go to conferences, my entire family participates. For example, my husband makes sure that I have all my gear, everything's packed in the car, that I have my breakfast and my snacks, like all of that. So I don't have to even think about that. My son, and my son and daughter, they know how to set up my table, set it up exactly what I want, like tablecloths, decorations, candy bowls, sign-ups, book displays, all of that. My daughter knows how to run the register. She knows how to ring up the books, so that when people come to the table, all that I do is talk and sell my books. And she will do all of the cash, the credit cards, all of that. And it's a family affair. When it comes to the future, that's what I see publishing as, and I have to remind myself of that daily. Right now, it is a grind mode to really get myself established, but it's to get us established, but it really is a long range goal, and I do have to remind myself that it's like, this is literally a marathon, and I just, keep it going. So it will be, and it is a family-run business. I do have some people that I would like to join my team in the future, and that's just something that I pray will come. And they are not family by blood, but family by, we've just done things together in the past. And the more that we grow and our income grows, I would love to be able to do that. The other part of that question was, have I tried Net Galley? No, I have not, and that's something that I am considering. As of right now, I've been really trying to work with having a review team so that I can manage the relationship between myself as the writer and my readers. And so far, it's okay. It's not the best, but it's getting better. And I think it's getting better because I've had time. There are some of my reviewers that they email and we kind of talk a little bit, and not every day, but so that when I make a call for reviews, I think with every book, it will increase. And there are some services that like Net Galley that I am going to look at for future releases and launches. So I hope that was a long answer. No, I haven't, but I will consider in the future. Any plans? Have I done a giveaway for a signed copy of the book on Goodreads? I have not done Goodreads for a while, and mainly because I'm not on there a lot, and I know that's not always great, but I had to choose. It's kind of like when you choose your battles, like you can't be everywhere. So I plan to give it a try again, but like right now, I will put the links in the description box because I do have giveaways right now, and one's for Kindle versions of Black Diamond, and another one is for signed version, 3 signed copies of Black Diamond, and that will be in the description box. And mainly because in time, I'll know whether it's working for me or not. Is that I don't want a lot of interference between Purpose Prevails Publishing and the reader, and the only way that I feel like I can manage that right now is by ensuring that a lot of the things that are generated for giveaways we are the originating source. And so those others I think will come down the line. But right now I have a nice enough list size. My giveaways are really very strong. And in the past, they have gained me readers, like real readers. And so it's working. It's just working slow. So I'll take it. Slow and steady will get me there. The last question was any plans to expand to audiobooks? Yes. Yes. I know that that's a big area. I listen to audiobooks, and so that's something that I'm looking at. Right now, I would love to say yes today, but over even just with doing these videos, I had to kind of redefine for myself in my scope, in reminding myself like what I'm doing, and I have to do that often. And that is that I am aiming to build fans of my work, and to build fans of my work, I have to have a variety of work for them to kind of tap into. And once I have that variety available, well, then I will be able to kind of extend my arms just a little bit further to those other areas to bring more people in. And once they're in, they can have several things to kind of to interact with. There's 3 legs that I really, as a writer, would like to explore. And this probably be my closing comment about that, which is my romantic suspense, which is the Precious Stones series. That's Black Diamond, African Emerald. And then we have the shorter ones, which is Before Black Diamond and Fearless Goodbye. And that is the Precious Stone series. And that is my romantic suspense, which is a leg. And then you have the Ready for Love series, which came about because of readers. That's Caramel Surprise, Love's Hope, which is available now, and then Hidden Desire, which is coming later this year. And then there's another story that will be coming out at the beginning of next year. And then I will have some standalones and that I want to have in the more contemporary romance area. And those 3 things, some people would have different pen names and they would do all these different things, but I want to hopefully establish each of those under my fiction pen name of Janice Dixon, and let it be clearly seen by my readers based on the cover style and based on letting them know in my blurbs. And because that's what I like to read, and that's what I like to write, and that's kind of where my focus is right now, building fans. And so all of that will extend to those areas: audiobooks, Net Galley, and events. And for now, though, it's just writing, publishing, marketing, writing, publishing, marketing, writing, publishing, marketing. That's it. So that is it for today. I hope that you have enjoyed this update. I will be back with the Going Indie um, update at the end of the month. And at the end of the month, I'll tell you how my goals went for this month, as well as outlining my goals for September. Thank you so much for your comments, your questions, and don't leave your girl hanging. Put some more on this video so I'll be able to answer them in the next video, and let me know also in the comment section if you would like to hear more details about the writing stages in separate videos. I know I cannot do a lot of these videos, but I see this too as a potential to market. So if you are a reader of any of those type of books, please visit Purpose Prevails Publishing. You can also visit the my books in the links. I think I have them in the description box, and if I don't, I will have them now. Support me. I would greatly appreciate it, and it will also help me in furthering what I am doing. So that is it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to coming back hopefully sooner than later. Take care and goodbye.